he also secretly runs the online platform African Stream across a wide range of social media platforms. Now, according to the outlet's website, African Stream is, and I quote, a pan-African digital media organization based exclusively on social media platforms, focusing on giving a voice to all Africans both at home and abroad. In reality, the only voice it gives is to Kremlin propagandists.
All right. Welcome to Pan-African Perspectives, your weekly live stream where we dive into the real-life experiences of visiting Africa, moving to the continent, investing in African ventures, and buying land, all with the ultimate goal of advancing Africa and making sure that it's back to its rightful place on the world stage. I'm your host, Joe Hotagua, the founder of Authentic African, and each week, I'll share my experiences living, traveling, and investing in Africa. And from time to time, I'll also be interviewing others who've made the move to the continent while offering insights and stories and news on the continent. And today, I have a very, 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 very special update. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. We are back. African Stream is finally back. It's been a long time coming. It has been a long and arduous process, but we're back with African Stream, guys. And we're back live on TikTok too. So if you guys are watching on TikTok, shout out to all you guys. Today, we're going to talk about African Stream and bringing African Stream back. This is exciting times, guys. I got a lot of updates to give you. I'm looking forward to it. But before we even went live, we had a few folks come on board and say some things. So first of all, if you guys can hear me, let me know. Give me a thumbs up and then let me know where you're watching from. I see Afuya says incredible. Manelik is in the house. He says like, share, and support the channel. Make sure you guys like, share, and support the channel. All right, we live everywhere. We're live everywhere, it looks like. All right, so we're gonna give some time for people to get in. This is a huge deal. Like I said, African Stream is back in a different way than how we did things previously, and in a different way than how they've been. And also, by the way, how's the sound coming through? I got a new microphone. We have elevated our game. We are now in the content creation space for real. Anyway, so I'm going to, okay, so Manelik says you can hear me. Jada, you said you can hear me. There's a few people on Instagram excited. African Stream is back. Spread the knowledge is what Wedlow from California is saying. Nels is excited. Akron the Greatest says with love from Ghana. Olubusumi, sorry, is saying you can hear me. Lewis Frazier says, I love it. Keep it up. Yeah. Exciting times. So we are going to be back with African Stream. I'm going to put some up on the screen here, and we're just going to walk through what that's going to look like. So for context, right, I just gave you guys a little bit of insight into what exactly happened. And I played that video so you guys could see it. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to do a little bit of an intro for those who aren't as familiar with who I am and what we do. There's so many new people joining, so it makes sense to kind of do a little bit of a rundown. So for those of you who are new to the platform, stay tuned. For those who have been around for a while, forgive me as I do this this quick presentation so that we can make sure that people understand what it is that we're on. So I'm going to share a particular window. All right, it looks really small. Can you guys see that? It looks really small. Let's try that again. Let's try it again. Maybe we can make this work a little better. So by the way, for those of you who are just joining, we're talking about the fact that African Stream is back in a big way. So Farquan is representing for Brick City, which is otherwise known as Jersey City, for those of you who are unaware. And I only know that because I used to listen to Redman a lot. That ages me a little bit. I don't even know if half the people watching this know who Redman is. But yeah, so yeah, let's get into it, because I think this is really, really important. I mean, I've been waiting for a long time to get back to this, and so I'm excited to share it. It's been a long time coming. It's like, it's really, you know, we lots of conversations. You guys might remember I interviewed the CEO of African Stream a couple of months ago. And so so now we're back with African Stream, and I'm excited about it. But before we get into that, let's do some quick introductions and give some people to join in a moment here. So so real quick, as I said, we're back, and not only me and we, this is going to be as of tomorrow, literally tomorrow, March 25th, 2025. We are back with the first this month in Africa, which is the live stream that we'll be doing. So a little bit different from the previous format, and I'll get into that in a second. So before we get into everything, though, make sure you like, share, subscribe, comment, turn on your post notifications so you are aware every time a new video comes out. If you guys haven't already, make sure you head over to YouTube, subscribe to us on YouTube. We are on our way to 50,000 subscribers this year. And we're over 500,000 on YouTube. I mean, on Instagram. So we've already hit that goal. But our goal on YouTube is to get to 50,000. Our goal on TikTok is to get to 30,000. So share this with everybody you know. All right, so let's get into it. First things first. Who is Authentic African, right? So a little bit about Authentic African. It's a multimedia platform and e-commerce site that supports African and diaspora entrepreneurs. We're promoting businesses, and our mission is to help the diaspora get in touch with their African roots, and then our Africans to get in touch with the diaspora. So a little bit about what we have available. The link is in the description, or it is in our profile. After this live stream is over, head over there and you can grab yourself a Before Slavery We Ruled t-shirt, a Stolen from Africa t-shirt. There's a couple available Make Africa Great Again shirts, hats, and then also Authentic African snapbacks and trucker hats. We also have stickers and stuff available too. So the merch is up and live. If you guys are interested, you guys can go check it out. You know, these are the brands that came from posts that people really found useful and interesting, and so we turned them into t-shirts, and they're available for purchase today. So just click on the link in the description below, or head to the profile. These are the services I offer. I do content for folks. I do talent. I can be a keynote speaker, panel host, a number of different things, and I can do social media takeover and live content for people when it is time. Now let's talk about African Stream. So as you saw in that video, Anthony Blinken basically made the statements unfounded. He's the former Secretary of State under Joe Biden on the previous administration. He made an unfounded statement that smeared African Stream, saying that they were funded by Russian Times, a former Russian, or I guess a Russian outlet. Unfounded claims. And also, even if they were funded by Russian Times, it doesn't really matter, because it wasn't as if they were doing anything that was Russian propaganda. I mean, their entire platform was to promote Pan-Africanism in Africa. And in some cases, they would talk about deals that Africans were doing with other countries. But I think it was just right at the time of an election, and there was some fear that these kinds of posts and this kind of content was going to have a negative impact on Kamala Harris's campaign. Keep in mind that African Stream generally are leftist, meaning technically they're more on the side of socialism, etc., which is technically a leftist kind of platform, which is the most closely associated with the Democratic Party in the United States. Not necessarily saying that they would support the Democratic Party of the United States. They support Pan-Africanism in its entirety, and that's their main focus. But I'm just saying, in terms of policies that closely align, they tend to align more with folks that are like Pan-Africanists in the way that African Stream is. And so that was what was so shocking about this shutdown. And so we're back. We're going to deliver unfiltered news with no Western filters. So you're going to join us as we're going to revive this month in Africa. So it's bigger, bolder, and unfiltered. So tomorrow's live stream is about Congo Crisis and the AES update. So the stories they don't want you to hear is what we're going to continue to be talking about on this platform with African Stream. So I'm really looking forward to that. So real quick, a couple of things. Kenyatta says it looked good. Good. I'm happy to hear that. Jada Faith says, I can't get enough of your content, Joe. I stumbled on your platform and I've since been shouting your name from the rooftop. I'm telling everybody I know about you. I appreciate that. I really appreciate that. Farquan is watching from Newark, New Jersey. All right, another brick city person. So this is a big deal, right? African Stream at its peak, after just being online for 2 years, had over 3 million followers across all platforms. Instagram, they were over 1 million. YouTube, they were like over 500,000, and it was growing. And so I reached out so that we could talk about doing a weekly live stream to talk about the news on the continent of Africa, right? There was a lot of great content they were putting out, but what was difficult is to synthesize that into one weekly live stream. And so that's what I reached out to do. They agreed to do it, and that's what we were doing. Unfortunately, Anthony Blinken, as you can see on the screen, for those of you watching on YouTube and some of the other platforms, he made that statement, and immediately following that, Google removed all of their access, meaning remove access to Google Drive, remove access to their emails, remove access to YouTube. And then Meta removed them from Facebook and from Instagram, right? So those two organizations single-handedly wiped out like 90% of where you could find African Stream's content. Now, luckily, they were already on X. X did not do that. They also have a Patreon platform, as I mentioned before, so you could check them out on Patreon, and they're in a few other places as well. But we're back, at least with this live stream, in a different form. So let's get into what you can expect from the live stream. So again, here's what the schedule is going to look like. So previously we were doing this every Monday. So we were doing a Monday live stream. And what we decided to do is, Tuesday live stream. We were doing this every Tuesday. Instead of doing this every Tuesday based on bandwidth and the restrictions on parameters based on, their reduced, they reduced a lot of their output in certain ways, and then they've increased in other areas. And so because African Stream is very busy right now, we're going to do a monthly live stream. So the last Monday of every month, you want to save the date. So that's why we're going to go live. Sorry, the last Monday of every month. It should be the last Tuesday of every month. Sorry, guys. It's the last Tuesday of every month. For whatever reason, this made a mistake on this, but it's March 25th. Tomorrow is a Tuesday, so it's the last Tuesday of every month. You want to mark your calendars, because tomorrow the 25th, April 29th, May 27th, June 24th, the 29th of July, August 25th, September 29th, August 28th, November 25th, and then December 23rd, which isn't the last Tuesday of December, but the following Tuesday is New Year's Eve. And we didn't want to go live on New Year's Eve because I don't know where I'm going to be, likely in Ghana, out somewhere. So I'm probably not going to be able to go live at that point in time. So we're going to do it the week earlier, where I'm going to be able to be sitting in a place like this and be able to go live for you guys. So you want to make sure you set your reminders and you stay tuned, because we will be going live every single Tuesday to talk about the news of the day on the continent of Africa. I'm really excited about this. You have no idea how much coordination had to happen behind the scenes to be able to get here, but we're here. All right, so a couple people had some things to say. Wa Mutumbo said, Mutumbo from DRC, but in ATL for now. Never heard of your platform until now. Thanks to Instagram. Will give you my opinion probably after tomorrow's session. Well, appreciate that. Thank you for that. All right, cool. So what do we have? Oh, sorry. We didn't mean to do that. Okay, so anybody from Instagram have any thoughts? We can hear you loud and clear from Instagram. Anybody else from Instagram? Sorry, like I'm set up on a whole bunch of different screens. So I have 3 screens over here, and then I have TikTok going on over here. So this is a big announcement. So we wanted to make it across all platforms. So you guys are going to have to bear with me. If you see me looking at different screens at different times, it's just because I am running a operation across 4 screens right now. So it's really difficult to make sure that, you know, I give everybody eye contact. All right, cool. So let's get back into, so that was the schedule. Now let's talk about the format, right? So it is going to be a little different than what we were doing before. Previously, because there was so much news every single week that they were putting out on Instagram and on YouTube, we were picking out different individual news stories, like sub news stories. And so what we've decided to do now is, instead of going wide, we're going deep, meaning we will take a particular topic and do a deep dive into that topic. But first, let me kind of walk you through what the format will look like. So first of all, we're going to start with the host introductions, right? So I'll do an introduction. I'll introduce or Inem will introduce herself, and then whatever special guests we'll have, we'll introduce them. Tomorrow we do have a special guest who is from the DRC, who has a substantial following and knows a lot about what is going on there. So she's going to be able to join us tomorrow, not only because not only will we have a verifiable journalist in Inem Richardson, but we will also have someone who's on the ground from the DRC to talk about what is happening in the DRC. That is why what African Stream does and why it's so important, right? Because they don't just report on what they hear, they have individual independent reporting. And so we'll be able to bring that to you guys every month for the previous month. So everything you might have missed, you can just tune in and you will get the updates on what happened that month. So we'll deep dive, like I said, into a main topic. So tomorrow we're talking about the Congo Crisis. So we're going to give some context. We're going to talk about the key players, the hidden agenda of people in the West, etc., and the devastation to the people on the ground. I mean, we are going to do a real deep dive into the impact of what is happening in the Congo and get you guys up to speed on what's happened in the last couple of months since we last went live. I mean, if you guys remember, we were going live every single week and we were bringing the news to you guys every week. But because of everything that's happened, you know, we have a lot to catch you up on. So we're going to catch you up on everything since December of last year and any other context that's needed. Be prepared to see all of that. All right. And then lastly, when we do that deep dive into a main topic, tomorrow specifically is the Congo. Next month will be something else. We will also make sure that every single live stream we do AES updates. So that's the Alliance of the Sahelian States, which is Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. So we'll talk about the latest victories against neocolonialism and combating Western misinformation. So as you guys might know, Inem Richardson, who is a reporter for African Stream, is on the ground in Burkina Faso. So she does independent journalism on the ground in Burkina Faso. She's there every day talking to the people and really understanding what is going on there. There's a lot of talk about Ibrahim Traore. A lot of people are posting. There's an entire page just dedicated to him. People are reposting content all the time that's about him and what he's up to. And we have a resource that is on the ground there who can speak to everything that is happening there. So I'm really excited about that. And so every week, we will have an update from Inem. And if you guys remember, if you guys watched before, she is a wealth of knowledge. I mean, she studied Thomas Sankara. She studied Patrice Lumumba. She has studied Pan-Africanism. She knows the history of Pan-Africanism, about revolutionary movements globally. And she also has a very clear understanding of what is happening on the ground in the AES. She also travels to Mali and Niger to talk to people there, and she speaks French too, so it's helpful because she's able to give updates and insight directly from the people on the ground. So Afia says, what a moment, the voice of the people. Exactly, we're back. Afia says, one Black nation is on the rise. I feel you on that. Yes, for sure. Okay, so let's get to the next area. And so what specifically are we going to cover tomorrow? So tomorrow, again, we have the deep dive into the Congo crisis. So the first thing we're going to cover is the M23. Well, one of the things we're going to cover is the M23 rebel advancements and what that means for DRC's future. So we're going to take a deep dive into who M23 is, and their foreign backers, which you see as the last bullet point on the top. We're going to talk about their advancements, how far they've moved within the country of the DRC, and you'll understand like what cities they've taken over and what has been happening and the devastation and the toll on civilians. And then we're going to talk about the mineral war profiteers and who truly benefits from them. Unfortunately, every single device that I am talking to you all on is made primarily from materials taken unjustly from the Congo. So every device you guys are watching this content on, every device I'm streaming this content through, most of the materials are taken unjustly from the Congo. And so if you hear me ever talk about the fact that I don't upgrade to new iPhones all the time, it's funny to see, not even funny, but it's interesting to see people in my home country of Sierra Leone be so interested in getting the brand new iPhone 16 Plus, and they don't know what kind of child labor went into pulling that out of the ground, right? And what kind of people and what kind of things are happening to people in their thirst for having the brand new phone, right? I remember so many people were like, I need the iPhone 16, iPhone 16. And it, people want to show off these devices, but they really don't even know the impact that is happening to people on the ground, in order for them to be able to pay $1,300 plus for a device where all the minerals already came from Africa. They are stealing our minerals and reselling us devices at markups that are exorbitant. It costs less than $10 to make an iPhone, but people are paying $1,600 for an iPhone. And so that's what we're going to talk about when we're talking about the Congo crisis. I'm very passionate about this, and it's very important because I think it's important for people to know what by engaging in that type of commerce, you're perpetuating the issue that is happening in the Congo. So shout out to Martin Sixto is here in the building. And so separately from that, there's also the AES updates. So again, this is going to be really important because as somebody who's a child of the continent, obviously adopted by the continent, I should say, because I was born and raised in the United States, but I do go back to Sierra Leone often. I'll be back there very shortly. And when I'm there, there's always talk. And whether I'm in Ghana, I'm in Sierra Leone, or wherever I am, there's always talk about the leadership on the continent of Africa and how leadership can be better. And what we found is with these three countries, this now confederation of the AES, which now has its own flag, they have their own group. They have now begun to start to work on collective bargaining and making some adjustments and changes to ensure that they have better deals and trade deals with international partners, even removing themselves from Francophone, a number of different things that they're doing. All of these things, we hope that gets mimicked by other African leaders. And so we're going to be covering the AES in every single call, every single live stream, because we think it's really important to highlight what Ibrahim Traoré is doing and the other two presidents of the Sahelian states. And so we will keep that conversation going. I mean, obviously, we're looking to them to kind of help us get to a place where we eventually have a United States of Africa. It's going to be very difficult to get there. But when people ask me, are we ever going to get there? Are we ever going to realize the goal of Pan-Africanism? I almost always say, if we ever get there, it's through people following the lead of the AES. So anyway, one of the things we're going to be doing is combating misinformation about Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali. There are a lot of pages doing a lot of AI videos, and a lot of them mean well, but there are things that they're miscommunicating. There is incorrect knowledge and understanding of what's actually happening on the ground. And so we want to ensure that we utilize people on the ground to speak to what's happening there. Burkina Faso did a nationalization of some land, so we're going to talk about that. Mali had a taxation overhaul of foreign companies, specifically in Canada. And then Niger's bold move to nationalize uranium mining. So we're going to talk about all of those things tomorrow. Now, there's a couple questions and comments, so I want to get to those in a second. Let's start with this one. So GRNS says supports the AES 100%. Nice. Let's see if there's any other questions, comments, and thoughts on IG. What do we have here? Just a bunch of people joining and excited to see what we are talking about. No comments. It's a lot of people joining in and out. I'm scrolling through here. It's a lot. Okay. So, oh, wow. Didn't mean to do that. So let's get back to this. All right. So Farquan says it's a matter of when we unite. It's slowly happening. Right. That's true. That's true. It's a matter of when we unite. Okay. So Afuya says, my question for tomorrow is Russia a friend of Africa? So that's a question that we can answer today because we don't take questions generally during the This Month in Africa live stream. We're unable to take questions because there's a lot of content we have to get through and there's just not enough time to do it. So I'll answer that question today. I would say this. I think Russia is a partner to many countries in Africa. I don't think that any African nation or individual should look at anybody looking to benefit themselves through trade as a friend. They are a business partner. As people say, it's business, it's not personal. It's very important to understand it's a business partnership. And biggest challenge that you find with the continent of Africa, which is why I love what the AES is doing, is they don't have collective bargaining, right? So what I mean by that is this. Many countries operate in silos. So a country as small as Sierra Leone doing a deal with Russia, Russia is going to be able to have the upper hand in that deal. Or doing a deal with the United States is going to have the upper hand in that deal. So in either instance, right, depending on the terms of that deal, there may be some potential benefit to a country like Sierra Leone, or just pick any country, Zimbabwe. However, they could have a lot more bargaining power if they did a deal with the neighboring countries around them. So, for example, with the AES, you have different minerals in different countries. You have one country that has a ton of oil reserves. You have another country that has a ton of gold, and you have another country that has other rare earth minerals. The three of them together can work on international trade deals based on the strength that they have together, as opposed to being individual entities, right? And so that's the thing I think is really going to be important. So it really doesn't matter who we're talking about, if it's the Far East or if it's the West or the global North, whatever you decide to call them, right? These groups, these countries with these artificial borders, all of these countries outside the continent of Africa are all going to be doing things for their own benefit. And so if we're talking about friends, we should probably be looking to our neighbors within the continent to make them friends. I mean, there's been a lot of border battles. There's been a lot of battles in general on the continent. So it's going to be hard in a lot of places to mend some of those relationships. But, you know, if we're talking about who's a friend to Africa, I think it should be other African nations, not non-African countries. Afuya says, there's talk about illegal uranium mining and concerns about Russia's involvement. Yeah, I mean, I think there's lots of talk about that. And I think with each of these leaders, at least in the AES, this is something that they have been a lot more vigilant about, and also ensuring that they do their best to curb some of this stuff that's happening. Much of what had been happening over the years prior to these guys taking over is there have been plenty of people that were there that were you know, that were basically taking advantage of the country. And now they're basically taking it back and saying, we're not going to allow people to take advantage of us anymore. It's that simple. So I do think it's important to know that, yes, some of that had been happening previously, but we're looking to make some changes. And I think we should be excited to see how Ibrahim Traore and the others are handling this. All right. I hope that answers that question. Cool. So I wonder if there's anything else. I don't even know if there's any other slides here. So just as a recap for everybody who's watching, to make sure that everybody is aware, we are going live again tomorrow. So Those of you who follow the platform will be going live 3 days in a row, at least once a month. So there's always the Sunday live stream that I do specifically about Sierra Leone, because, you know, I'm a Sierra Leonean and I rep it every day. We have this live stream that we're doing right at this very moment, which is more about Africa as a whole and just like my experiences moving back and forth and other people in the diaspora and moving back and forth. And then we also are going to have conversations on Tuesdays, the last Tuesday of every month, about the news of the day from the continent of Africa, from real journalists and reporters who are on the ground, that are Pan-Africanists, that align with our belief systems and our views, and who understand what is actually happening. Kenyatta Gross says, hit that like button. Yes, hit that like button. Hit that like button. Wherever you're watching this from, make sure you hit that like button. If you haven't already, subscribe on YouTube. Like I said, we are on our road to 30. Well, we're basically at 30,000. We're on our road to 50,000 subscribers on YouTube. We're on the road to 700,000 followers on Instagram. We're on the road to 150,000 on Facebook, and we're on the road to 30,000 on TikTok. We need all of your help to get us there. And conversations like this are the kind of conversations that people can expect. So if you're wondering, if you're new to the platform and you're wondering what kind of things we're going to be talking about, this is what we're going to be talking about. So Jada says, can we talk about President Biel's visit to the UAE earlier this month, especially with what they're doing to the Congo? I don't want to stick to specific Sierra Leone topics in this live stream, because I do go into Sierra Leone in particular on the Sunday live streams. So if you have questions specific to Sierra Leone, or if there's a large international story that I'm doing on this live stream about Sierra Leone, or even on the live stream tomorrow about Sierra Leone, then definitely let's ask those questions. But I will say this in particular, just in general about the UAE. The UAE, much like the Far East, much like the West, are all carving up their own pieces of commerce on the continent of Africa with rare earth minerals. And many of them are funding different militia groups, indirectly or directly. Many of these countries are doing this, and it's all in the furtherance of their own countries and to the devastation and to really to you know, yeah, to the devastation of the country of the DRC, the Democratic Republic of Congo. I am also going to be doing a 5-part series on the history of the Democratic Republic of Congo. I, up until about 2 years ago, was unaware of the entire history. Formerly Zaire, many different things have gone on in that country, and there's a lot that needs to be addressed and discussed. And I want to use this platform to help people learn more about the country's history and how we are where we are, who the benefactors are, all of that kind of stuff. So tomorrow you'll get a taste of that. Be on the lookout for over the next couple of weeks of that kind of content. So separately from the content that I've told you I'm going to be doing around, you know, touring apartments and houses around the continent of Africa, you know, talking about investments, talking to business owners on the continent of Africa, and traveling to different places. You know, my goal through my experiences is to show what it looks like so that other people will make a decision to do the same, right? So for those of you who are thinking about traveling to Africa, those of you who are thinking about investing or moving, those are the things that I'm going to be sharing on my platform. On this particular live stream, generally on this Monday live stream, on the Sunday live stream, we're going to talk specifically about Sierra Leone and people from Sierra Leone in the diaspora. So yesterday we interviewed someone who, a Sierra Leonean named Aisha Kamara, who actually is helping people get $150,000 jobs, $150,000 per year jobs through IT and tech without having any technical experience. Her students have made as much as $200,000 immediately following working with her, and some people have taken a little longer. She's talked about how, you know, some people it takes a little longer to get the job of their dreams, but when they go through her boot camp, they have tremendous results. And so I thought that was a really interesting story, especially in a time like this where there's underemployment and unemployment throughout all of the United States. I thought it would be good to have someone who is of Sierra Leonean descent talk about her business that's helping people get jobs, specifically Sierra Leoneans who are living in the diaspora, who need jobs, who may not have higher level education. They can take her boot camp and get you to a place that can get you paid. And so, so if you guys haven't seen that already, go back and watch yesterday's live stream. We also have been going live with a ton of other content. I'm doing a lot of real estate stuff, interviewing people. This week, I think we have a tour of Dre Taylor's 105 condos plus houses that he's doing. Those condos are starting at $50,000 total. And so people who are looking to invest in real estate on the continent of Africa, specifically in Ghana, he's building an entire community in the Buri Mountains in Ghana. So I just recently was in Ghana. I did an interview with him, and that interview was out last week. This week, we're going to get the tour of the property, so you guys get a chance to see what he's up to and what he's building. And then you also are going to get a tour of the apartments I've been looking at. So as I mentioned, I was in Ghana recently, and I looked at a bunch of apartments. And before I left Ghana, before that, I also looked at a bunch of apartments. So, and next, we're going to be doing a bunch of different interviews with Sierra Leoneans on the platform as well, just because I spend a lot of time there. And so those are not going to be in these live streams. Those are going to be in vlogs and pre-recorded interviews. So you'll expect to see one of our biggest artists who performed at the BET Hip Hop Awards and did a BET Hip Hop Awards cypher, Drizzlick. We're gonna get an interview with him. Another person by the name of Shadowboxer, who's one of our like OGs, Sierra Leonean musicians. We're gonna have a tour of a shared office space for those people who go to Sierra Leone, who need good Wi-Fi, who want air conditioning, who want an office space that they can utilize with conference rooms. We have one of those available, and we're gonna, we're gonna tour that place and do an interview with the woman who co-owns it. So these are all the things that you can expect to see from the platform. Okay, question. Afuya says, I'm particularly interested in the devastation in Sudan with the Janjaweed militias. Don't know who's the good guys and the bad, and how to help our people. So very interested, she said, in that topic. Well, this is one of the topics we will likely do a deep dive in. Sudan has been having a lot of news this year. So maybe for the month of April, we might do a deep dive into Sudan. And so that's how it'll be, right? We choose a particular country or a topic. We do a deep dive into it. We talk about all of the different angles that you need to understand and to know. For example, in the Congo, right? We're going to talk about the M23 rebels, but there's a lot of conversation about who is funding the M23 rebels, right? The United Nations themselves have put out a report saying that Rwanda is funding the M23 rebels. So many people might be watching this and saying, but I thought Rwanda was the good guys, right? They've had a civil war and they've turned their country around. Well, it seems as though those that were subjugated during the Rwandan genocide that happened in the 90s, many of them fled to the Congo, and a number of them, along with other Congolese, have now come together to form what they're calling the M23 rebel group. And these are the people who are funded, according to the United Nations, by Rwanda. And from what has been even said by Paul Kagame himself, most of the rare earth materials, legally or illegally, being removed from the country of DRC, Democratic Republic of Congo, is moving through Rwanda, legally or illegally. And so he himself has said that, right? So there's no denying that from the mouth of the person who is the leader of the DRC, of Rwanda, since 99, if I'm not mistaken, or at least since the year 2000, since I was in high school. And I got grays in my beard, so it was a while ago since I was in high school. So so I hope that that's clear. Those are the things that we're going to be talking about. That's what the platform is going to be about. So for those of you who are new, this is the update, major announcement. I'm excited about it. As you can see, there's lots of energy. I didn't sleep much last night because I was working on some things, and today I had to call to finalize the details of tomorrow's live stream. So I am going to be doing the thumbnail and the topics and everything, and putting that all in YouTube and across all the platforms, so you guys can look out for that, and you guys can actually set your notification to remind you when it's coming out. So within the next hour or so after this live stream ends, you can expect to see the link to that video so that you can be prepared to watch it tomorrow. Now, it is going to be at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. If I'm not mistaken, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time is when we will be going live. So that is 7 a.m. Pacific Time, and that is 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 2. That's 2 p.m. UTC or GMT. Okay? Okay. So let's see. Big Zonva says, rammed earth homes. Your take on this, specifically in Ghana. So okay, I think you're talking about these earth homes using earth bricks. So what is my take on this? I don't know enough about how long these things last to know if this is a good or a bad thing. But I will say this. For most of human history, places that had clay in the ground and mud, etc., that has been used to build houses. The Maasai tribe does it, and they're a wandering tribe, right? So they spend 6 months of the year one place, 6 months of the year somewhere else, and they build these houses wherever they are. They seem to last, and it keeps them cool in the hot sun, and it's shelter from the outside elements, right? It seems to work. And so it's taking that same concept and applying it to this because, cement and other things, although very sturdy and stable, do have a net negative impact on carbon emissions in the world. And so that's what people are trying to reduce, is the carbon emissions. And so, I think that there's a noble cause associated with it. I don't know enough to know, though, structurally how long they can last. So I hope that answers the question. Now back to the topic at hand. Farquan says the African Union should have an intelligence department tracking all funds coming from the outside, and once they find out its funding is illegal, means put a freeze on it. Yeah, I love that idea. Keep those ideas coming. We hope that people from the African Union are watching this and would be implementing these kinds of things. Don't know if they will, though. Just being honest. Friends of the Congo YouTube channel platform reports on the DRC situation. So maybe at some point we can get in touch with the Friends of the Congo. Pro Woman says Kagame is complex. He was in the army that ran the militia over the border into the Congo that ended the genocide. Yeah, he was. And now it seems like, in according to the United Nations is saying that he is perpetuating a new genocide in another country. So if it all sounds familiar, let's think about what's happening in Palestine. Maybe sounds similar. Just think about it. Big Zomba says, thanks. The problem, Farquan says, Museveni and Kagame been in bed for decades. That is what Farquan has to say. All right, cool. I appreciate all of the commentary. This has been a very, very enlightening discussion with people giving their thoughts and ideas. So I appreciate all of you guys. I've been really excited. As you can tell, energy's way up. Also, I feel good to be like a real content creator, have a real mic, real podcast like. Let me know how the sound is coming through, by the way. Is it crisp? How's the sound coming through? I need you guys to let me know. I know you guys said you could hear me, but how's the sound coming through on this mic? It feels different. Like the way I'm just moving around, it just feels like I'm in a different place now. It feels real. It feels real now. I'm a real content creator now. So yeah. So I do want to put that out there, though, for those of you who are wondering about anything pertaining to what's happening on the continent of Africa. These live streams on the last Tuesday of every month is going to be really detailed. Again, we can't talk about everything, right? So we're going to have to take a deep dive into one topic. We'll talk about what's happening in across that particular topic. And we'll give you the historical backing so you understand how we got to the point that we're at. Everything we talk about on the continent of Africa requires context, right? It's not enough to just say there's a bunch of fighting happening in the Congo, or there's some fighting happening in Sudan, or There were revolutions that ensured that people took over countries like Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger. Right? There's a lot of context required to help people understand how did we get to the place that we are. Right? Who are the parties involved? What are the steps that happened to get us there? Where are we today? And what is the outlook moving forward? Right? And that is what we are planning to do with all of what you are seeing with this platform. So that's what you can anticipate. That's what you can expect if you guys are coming to Authentic African Weekly for the live streams. All right. Woo. That was a lot, right? I need to have a sip of water. I need to hydrate. Any other questions, comments, concerns, thoughts before we bring this thing to a close? Whew, man. Need to hydrate. So one last thing that I'll mention. Again, if you guys haven't already, please subscribe on the YouTube channel. So those of you who are watching on TikTok, subscribe on YouTube. YouTube for us is probably the best way that we can get out to the most people with the most detailed information. And so, what I found is there are people of all ages watching. Excuse me. So what's interesting is, my goal was to always get people around my age interested in what's happening on the continent. But as time has gone on, the range of folks that are watching this content has been shocking, to be honest. I think almost 20% of the people who watch all of this content is over 55. And a little under 18% is under 25. And then the large majority is 25 to 55, right? That's where we're going to say about 60% of who watches are watching. But there's like a slight percentage difference though with each of these different groups. So I'm proud to say that we're servicing people across the spectrum of age, across all demographic groups, and I hope you guys are all finding this useful and helpful, because this, to be honest with you, is been the joy of my life. I really feel passionate about this, and I'm excited to be here. Our Farquan has a question about any books on the subject matter of the Congo. This is a great question, and unfortunately, I am not the right person to answer this question. But you know who is? The person who can answer this question is Inem Richardson. So Inem Richardson is, in fact, the co-owner and co-founder of Burkina Books, which is an Instagram page that focuses on the Thomas Sankara Center. And so she built a library and center for Pan-African learning based on the leader before Ibrahim Traore many moons ago, who looked a lot like Ibrahim Traore, has picked up a lot of Thomas Sankara's teachings and is applying it. And it's also, Thomas Sankara was also from Burkina Faso. So not only will you find books on Burkina Faso, you'll find books from Kwame Nkrumah from his time as president, prime minister, and prior to that on Pan-Africanism. You will also find books on the Congo. So not only does she have those books at the Thomas Sankara Center, but she can also recommend books and where you can find them. And so yeah, I definitely would say tune in tomorrow, and we'll make sure to add that as part of the topics in terms of finding out more about the history and what you can read to learn more about what is happening in the DRC. All right. Any other questions from folks? I see some questions that look like they're coming in. So let me see. There we go. Good idea. Yes, pro-women, perfect book. And I don't know why it escaped my mind, but this is a great book. King Leopold's Ghost. Good book on Congo colonialism. So King Leopold unalived more than 12 million people. Right? The estimates are about 12 million people plus that King Leopold unalived through his tyrannical reign in Belgium and all over the continent of Africa, but specifically the Congo. And you guys might remember we talk a lot about the Holocaust in school, especially in the United States, and that was a horrific tragedy that that was perpetuated by the Germans and the Nazi Party, and they unalived about 6 million people, which is horrendous and horrific. And we talk about that yearly, right? And constantly. What we don't talk about is, and that was Adolf Hitler who did that in Germany. Germany, Poland, Austria, a bunch of different places, right, where that was being done. I think what we should also highlight is other atrocities that happened a little bit before then, but are also just as or just as bad or even worse. And in this situation, we're talking about King Leopold. So we're talking about Hitler, Nazi Germany, 6 million or so innocent lives lost. King Leopold, Africa, 12 million or so innocent lives lost. And so we should be talking about this more. I think the book King Leopold's Ghosts gives you a little bit of insight into that. Farquan said they've already read that book, so you're already on it. You've already been educating yourself. But I think anybody who's looking to know more about Congo's history before the recent version of the, it's in the quote unquote independence, you can get an understanding of how we got to where we are. All good stuff. Good stuff. Anybody else got anything to say before we bring this to a close? Again, I'm going to remind everybody, like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. I will also mention that I think it's important that you guys should also look to the platform for anything pertaining to visiting, investing, and moving to the continent of Africa. And when we talk about investing, I'll be interviewing people about what they're doing and what they're building in terms of houses and businesses. And then we will also be looking at potential real estate opportunities. I am big on investing in real estate. If you guys saw my live stream, or if you saw my interview with Africans in Tech, he said, what are the top 5 investments that you're looking for in Africa? And I was like, real estate, real estate, real estate, real estate, real estate. Those are my top 5 investments. I think it's the best thing to invest in internationally. I will scream it from the rooftops. You should definitely be investing in real estate. And for those of you who live on the continent and who are deciding to spend your money on other things, shame on you. You guys should be looking at buying real estate. It's great for generational wealth, and it's an asset. It almost always appreciates in value. All right. So Farquan says, question, do you think more books written by our scholars be posted about Black economic empowerment? Do you think more books should be written by our scholars? Yes. I think if the answer is, do I think more should be? Yes, I think they should. I think that we should be doing a lot more. Yeah. So to basically answer that question, yeah, I think we should be. We're not doing enough. I think people like Ta-Nehisi Coates and others are more recent people who've been talking about these different things. And there's another thing too. Books turn to intellectual property that gets turned into movies. Not everybody's a reader. Readers are leaders, or leaders are readers, I should say. Leaders are readers. I can't say that readers are leaders, but definitely leaders are readers. If you find one thing in common amongst all the people who've attained the results that most of us are looking to attain, they are avid readers. They know about history, they know about the present, and that helps them focus on what they can do for the future. And so if we all are looking to make some adjustments and make some changes, we should all do ourselves a favor and read more. I am on a quest to read 4 books a year. I consume a lot of information. I do auditory learning, so I listen to books. So I listen to audiobooks. But some people like to read and flip through the pages and stuff like that. That's just not the best way for me to learn. Another book Farquan has is Powernomics by Dr. Claude Anderson. There you go. Some book suggestions in the chat. I love this chat, man. Very intelligent, uplifting chat. We are serious about our knowledge and our growth. All right. Anything else? Anything else, guys? I think that might be it then. We're about time. We're about at time. So here's what we'll do. Oh, something else. Pro Woman got something. Pro Woman says, FYI, ties into your Congo Gaza comment. Israel's president once supported Hamas over the PLO. Interesting. So you're meaning the president or the prime minister? Because the prime minister is Benjamin Netanyahu. They do have a president, if I'm not mistaken, too. But if you mean Netanyahu supported Hamas over PLO, I do think that is true. If I remember correctly, he did. He did support Hamas over PLO. So back to this comment on Powernomics by Dr. Clyde Anderson. Afuia says Blueprint for Black Power is another book, which is written, I guess, by Dr. Amos Wilson. I posted some things from Dr. Amos Wilson in the past. So you know what? It sounds like we should be having some resources for people for books. So that's something I'm going to put on my list of things for sure, is a book, a list of books and suggestions for Black empowerment, just overall economic empowerment, history books. I'll be doing that soon. So be on the lookout for that. As if I don't have enough things on my to-do list to do, but it'll be there. Okay, Pro Woman says yes, Netanyahu, Prime Minister of Israel. So Farquan says, I'm definitely interested in a miniature real estate and literature investing in Africa. Well, we're on it. We're on it. This is what we're talking about. So we're definitely doing it for sure. Big Zonva says, what would you do with 25K in Ghana today? What would I do with 25K in Ghana today? Big Zonva, do you got 25K? So what would I do with 25K in Ghana today? The first thing I would do is find land in East Legon Hills and buy that land. Whatever 25K can get me right now, buy however many town lots and put up a fence around that land. Fence meaning a cement wall. It's the first thing I would do. Now, obviously, you have to go through a process to make sure you get your indentured and you have a lawyer and all of that. Obviously, follow that process. But I would, number one, if I had 25K right now to spend in Ghana, I would go to East Legon Hills. I would go to Chado. I would go to, I think those are probably the places where you can get land for those prices. I would buy a town lot or two and fence it. And then I'd put a caretaker on that land until I had more money to start building a property on that house. But I would just buy that land and sit on it. You buy that land and sit on it, you can absolutely ensure that you're going to make your money back. Afuia Warner says, all Dr. Wilson's books, transformative and educational. There you go. Pro Woman says, book reviews, reading shows possible. That's possible. Yeah, I mean, look, I think that this is something that I can commit to as I'm reading more books. I think we can do book reviews and maybe we can do a book club. If somebody wants to volunteer to do that, you can email me. Excuse me, sorry. Wow. I apologize. I was trying to keep that back from the mic. So I apologize, folks, if you guys heard that. This mic is strong. It picks up everything. Okay, so if you guys are looking to start this book club and you guys want to help put this thing together and gather people's information and who wants to manage the book club around Authentic African, I'm more than happy to seed that to someone. I don't have the bandwidth to do it, but if people want to do it, let's definitely get together and do it. It's collective education, right? Let's work collective economics, collective education. Let's work together to build this. I am doing my best to outsource as much as possible to other people. I said yes to too many things too long, and it has really put me in a place where I am out of bandwidth. And so let's definitely do that. So Pro Woman or anybody else who's interested in that, definitely email me. My email is on the screen there. By the way, if you want to support with a Cash App or Zelle, you can do that too, if you can. Listen, I'm not asking anybody who can't to do it, but if you can and you got it, why not? Farquan says, I own a bookstore. Let's talk. Farquan, then send me a message. Send me an email. Kaba Tronka This is a Sierra Leonean. Says, interesting how digital transformation is going on in Kenya. We'll talk about that at some point. He says, difficult for Freetown residents to fully adapt the transition to digitalization. You got that right, brother. And I know this is a Salon person, even if he didn't say difficult for Freetown, because that name, Kaba and Tronka, that is a Salon name for sure. I know that name. Farquan says, I'm a philanthropist for Black African women's rights as my contribution to our Pan-Africanist movement. I love that. Well, I mean, I think that there's definitely some overlap here for sure. Big Zonva said they're going to email me. Nice. Farquan says, I'll volunteer for that book idea. Nice. So yeah, email me. Let's talk about it. And if there's a couple of you who are all interested together, the more the merrier. Let's get this together. We can get on a call. We can talk about it, and then we can release it here on the live stream. And it'll hold us all accountable for reading these books. I'm already trying to read a book a month, and mostly for economic empowerment. So if we're going to get into books about history and things like that, then that means I'm going to have to read more than one book in a month. And I have no problem with forcing myself to do that. I am all for that. So let's get to it. Jada says, when I look up land in Sierra Leone, it's literally saying it's hundreds of thousands. I think it depends on where you're buying, and it depends on how much you're buying. This is something that if you really are looking to buy land, I can talk you through some ideas and some thoughts. I do have a consulting service where I go through this. It can be pretty expensive depending on where you're trying to buy. Yes. I mean, I was told that a 4 or 5 town lot piece of land was bought for $150,000 in Freetown. But not everything's that expensive. For example, in 2023, I got 5 acres of land for, well, the asking price for publicly for the 5 acres of land is about $15,000 or so. And so 5 acres of land for $15,000 is much different for $100,000 plus for smaller pieces of land. So it depends on where you're buying, and it depends on what you're buying for. All right. Pro Woman says, I'd build student housing near University of Winneba in Ghana. Student housing near universities are needed. Student housing is slept on investment. That is true. That is true. Kaba says, much love from Freetown on the book stuff. Okay, good. Afuya says, whereabouts are you, Farquan? Another book, Africa 101, The Wake Up Call by Dr. Arikana Kwano. Okay. Kaba says, please, can you provide information on Sierra Leone diaspora angel investors interested in exploring in tech startups? Yes, I can do that on the Sunday live stream. So again, anything specific to Sierra Leone, that will be on the Sunday live stream. So definitely check that out. Unable to go live, not now. Live disconnected due to inactivity. Okay, cool. Farquan is in Norfolk. All right, guys, we are overtime, and as you guys know, I am back in the States in a full-time job, so I do have to attend to some of that work, and I do need to get the live stream prepared for tomorrow. So I want to say thank you guys again for joining. This has been a great live. I'm excited about it. I hope you guys are too. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. And you, as much as possible, share this with as many people you know out there. We need to get the word out that we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We are back. We are back with African Stream. We are back with news affecting the Pan-Africanists in the world and the diaspora. We are back. So I want to tell you guys again, thank you guys for watching. I will see you all on the next video.